Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm going to bring up something or say something that might be a little controversial after watching the playoffs and such. It's the first, the playoffs are starting for the NBA. There's always this debate like who's the greatest Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Bill Russell for that matter, etc. Um, let's talk about it this way. For me, I am one of those guys, old schoolers, old Gen X type of Gen Xer basically, and forever in my heart, I'll always say that Jordan will be the greatest by far. Between him and Bill Russell, it's debatable, but my situation, I'd have to say Jordan. Some would say Kobe, but in reality is like Jordan had more than Kobe, though Kobe did try to do it himself a little bit. LeBron, everyone was like, "Oh, LeBron's doing this," and look at it, he's doing it. He's got the longevity. But I will say this: LeBron definitely is the greatest. Probably the greatest at flopping, more if anything. I've always wondered. Like I think I've said in one of my earlier videos, um, comparing between now and let's say the 80s and 90s, Jordan had to play in that era, and it was a matter of like fouls were not called as much compared to what it is now. If you touch a guy, foul, automatic foul, flop, automatic foul. So it's a situation where I think of course, Kobe fell in between that per se, between those two eras. But the real question comes down to is how would Kobe and probably I would say um, LeBron have fared in the 80s and 90s, um, compared to what Jordan had to play through, basically. And quite honestly, I don't know how they would have done, but I will say this: LeBron does know how to act really well or flop in certain cases, and flopping is definitely becoming a big thing to the point where like I think the NBA has to now address that issue. I mean, they tried addressing it a little bit, but they've got to address it more now. More so because the fact is, it's becoming a mainstay in the game. Either one, you bring back those days of the golden era, per se, where fouls were fouls, and um, they wouldn't be considered technical. I mean, showing you some video. Basically, I'll show you some video at this point. Like this is Jordan getting fouled at this point. You'll see here driving in. He's fouled. This is a foul, a hard right foul, and the man still came in and played the game. He still came in and played the game, quite honestly. So we can't say like deny what Jordan has done for the game, but quite honestly, it's more of a case where compared to him versus let's say Kobe, um, playing. I don't want to say playing the game itself and being fouled, but there were cases where he was fouled. As you see here, it's a case where he's going in for the drive, and this is against OKC, fouled, and he's willing to take the foul. But more so, this is a man he was willing to accept it and such, right? He was willing to accept it, and there might have been a couple flops on his end, uh, in a couple of games here and there. I'm not going to deny that, but at the same time, compared to him versus let's say LeBron, um, looking at that perspective, this is a game. While he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course. There are probably some more recent ones I can find, but look at that. That seriously, just a little shove, and he goes way back. That wasn't even a hard foul. It was just a shove, small shove. That's it, small shove, and he sold it. He sold it really well. Look, there we go. See, that was a really good sell on his part. So, this is a case where, like I said, LeBron is definitely a great flopper. He's definitely a great flopper. Uh, um, would he be able to? How would he deal? And everyone says yeah, the reason why he's you know he's probably good because of the fact of, as far as being the best NBA player longevity wise. Well, yeah, because he wasn't fouled as much compared to Jordan. Let's put it that way. He wasn't fouled as much. So everyone says, well, yeah, he's got this regimen. Yeah, but even the regimen, if he was fouled as much as Jordan was, and like heavily, and the type of fouls that Jordan was getting, would he still be in the same shape? Would he still be playing right now? Honestly, doubt it. But I don't know. That's for you to decide. You, the fan, to decide. Basically, I mean, for me, like I said, I always say Jordan will be the best. But nowadays, all these players in today's NBA have learned to flop. I mean, Harden, the master flopper. He's the master flopper. Let's not argue against that. Harden's the master flopper. Uh, Jokic probably so as well too. Quite honestly, he's flopper too. Um, I miss those days where you had the physicality in basketball, and you just like you take the bumps and you take the bumps, you take the elbows, you do the hand checking. I understand what Stern tried to do, but it's because he was trying to remove the fighting from the game. Because the fact is, because of those hard fouls and such, it led to those fights, specifically with the Knicks and Bulls, but mostly with the Knicks and and the Pistons, the bad boy Pistons. But that's what made teams great, defensively speaking. I miss those days. I'd rather have those days come back. Um, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's up to you, to the fans. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think that the game today versus the game in like 20 years ago or 30 years ago actually has changed dramatically to a point where now you got master floppers left and right? Like, are we seeing more offensive, coordinated players more so than really great defenders? And I kind of miss those. I mean, yeah, granted, like you won't see the Dennis Rodmans. I mean, for me as a Knick fan, the Anthony Masons and Charles Oakley. I mean, you're seeing that with Green from Golden State, but he's got that bad boy image that any foul that he does, it's a technical foul. I mean, honestly, I think let him keep what he's doing. Let him go keep and do what he's doing. I mean, granted, some of the antics that he's pushing out there, like what Ron Artest used to do, let him keep what he's doing. But if he can remove those antics a little bit, I think let it go. And everyone's like, oh, it's bad for the game. But is it bad for the game? Maybe it adds that extra spice to the game a little bit too, because of that, those fouls that are in there. Because like, let's be honest. Without Jordan, I mean, would the NBA be where it's at right now? I mean, honestly, and remember, Jordan, with those fouls, those hard fouls, he overcame them. And that's why you're seeing like basketball. I mean, I don't want to say the NBA is weaning a little bit with their numbers and ratings, but it is in a ways to the point where, let's say, Formula One is getting up there. Football will always be up there. Baseball is still waning, but whatever it may be. But now soccer is getting up there. And the NBA is trying to compete with them by making it more offensive bound. I mean, honestly, the NBA and soccer, they're probably going to be synonymous now as being, floppers. You're going to see flopping left and right, and then the red card comes out, or technical fouls and ejections and whatnot. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, do you think James is a great flopper, just like Harden is? LeBron, is he that good of a flopper? Is he the greatest compared to Jordan, compared to Kobe? I mean, there are a lot of, you could show the stats and such, but let's be honest. I mean, like I said, Jordan, he had Pippen at least, and of course during the latter years with the Bulls, he did have Kukoc and he did have Rodman. So let's not forget that made a major difference. Um, Kobe, he did have quite a few players along the ways. He did have Shaq. Let's not forget. In the beginning years, he had Shaq, and then towards the end of his years, he had Gasol at that point. But it was to the point where like they weren't able to maintain what they were trying to be. Basically, LeBron, I mean, he just went left and right to different teams basically, and he tried to recruit as many players as he could. Versus recruiting players into Cleveland. I mean, quite honestly, when he went back to Cleveland, he didn't recruit any of the players. Irvin was already there. Uh, and Love probably was traded for basically, and that was it. I mean, it was a point like it showed without Irving, the Cavaliers could not win in the finals against Golden State. But when he was there, it showed. So I mean, it's true. You can't do it with one man. One man alone can't do it. And this is where I appreciated LeBron back in the days, in his early days of Cleveland, when he was getting close to the finals and such, that he was able to do it practically all on his own. I mean, if he had those surrounding players that he needed, I think he would have. I mean, we could have called him the greatest if he stayed with Cleveland and he, let's say, recruited not superstars but other stars or other all stars or tier two all stars. Um, but I don't know. That's my opinion again, of course. Uh, Let me know your thoughts. Again, post it about in the comment section. I do read all my comments and I do respond to them. And of course, as always, if you haven't subscribed but you like my videos, like my content, like my channel, please subscribe if you haven't. And of course, as always, I leave it as such with the fact is like, if you've seen my other videos, always unedited, always unrehearsed, and always. Uh, oh man, I forgot my tagline now. I haven't done this in a while. So unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. I mean, the fact is basically I won't add any backgrounds usually. Well, I mean, this is a filter background, of course, so that's why I can't say always unfiltered, but unedited. I'll just go as is and always unrehearsed because I never have anything. I have no script or such, so I should I do a script? I don't know. It's up to you guys, but I just like to talk off the top of my head, not off the cuff. Um, I might have some bullet points if I'm talking technical, but with sports, I'm just gonna talk off the top of my head basically and treat it as such. But anyways, I would like to interact with you guys and like talk more if you want to. It'd be great to have one of those what's it called lives or whatever it may be, Zoom calls or whatever it may be, Zoom video chats, whatever it may be, and record it and put it up and post it up on each of our channels. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, always unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.